Hello, folks. How are you?
Hi.
Howdy.
Good to see you all. Hey, for people that are listening, I'm Michael Van Osch, Marketing Director at Georgia Ensemble Theater. And today we have two guests with us that we want to talk to for a little while. And they're two folks that we absolutely love. Jessica D. Maria, say hi.
Hi.
And Chase Peacock. Hey, Chase.
Hello.
So we wanted to interview you folks a little bit so that you could tell us more, or tell our audience more about who you are, what you got going on, and what quarantine's been like for you. So first and foremost, let me introduce Jessica a little bit, and then I want you, Jessica, to tell us more about yourself, and then we'll go to Chase. So Jessica is, you know, one of the foremost actors and singers in Atlanta, and we love working with her. She's worked at GET a little bit, but she's also taught at GET as a teaching artist, and I believe went to China with the team.
Yes.
That was a long time ago. Long time. Not COVID related China.
2 years ago, China.
Yes, 2 years,
2 years ago, China.
exactly. So exactly. So yeah, Jessica, tell us a little bit more about you. Like how long you've been in Atlanta, if this isn't home originally, and you know, your acting career, how long you've been doing that and singing different things, and just give us a little synopsis.
Sure. So I originally from Long Island, New York, and I moved to Atlanta to attend Oglethorpe University and just kind of stayed here after that. It wasn't my intention, but it sort of ended up working out that way. And I guess at this point, it pains me to say, but I guess I've been part of the professional acting community here for 8 years. Time just flies. My crow's feet continue to embed themselves. But yeah, so I've been acting here in Atlanta for about, and performing for about 8 years here. My focus kind of shifted to writing about 5 or 6 years ago, and Chase and I have been writing together for about 5 years now. But that's kind of sort of it. I mean, I've been really fortunate in that I've gotten to work at most of our companies here in Atlanta in different capacities. For a long time, I was also working in arts administration at Actors Express and the Atlanta Lyric as a director of development and marketing. So that was also another facet of my involvement in the community here. But yeah, that's me.
Okay, great, thanks. Learned some things I didn't know. So. Chase, over to you now. Chase Peacock has been on our stage a lot. People are huge fans of Chase's here at GET, and you know, he's one of the leading men in Atlanta and beyond, and we're just so happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about you and your career and how you came to Atlanta, if you're not born here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm from Noonan, Georgia, which is about 20 minutes south of Atlanta.
Yep.
After high school, I got accepted to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York because I didn't have the grades to go to a real school. And so I went there for about a semester, and I called my mom and I was like, I don't think it's for me. So I got an apartment and started doing it. And ever since then, I had some success up there, a tour, worked at Disney World for a little while. Got to do a Broadway show, and then ended up moving back to Atlanta. And since I've been here, I've been lucky enough to work at, majority of the theaters. I'm 10 times the actor now I ever was in New York, getting the chance to do all of these roles and stretch myself a lot. And I've always written music. I started out playing music in a band in high school, and we wrote our own songs and had some pretty terrible CDs. If one searched too far on the web, you might be able to hear my squeaky voice playing rock music somewhere.
I'll pull that up right now.
I know. Let us all Google.
I'll never tell you the names. And then and I actually wrote a musical with a friend of mine in high school, so I've always wanted to do it, and I've been searching for someone to have that outlet with for a long time, and me and Jessica ended up doing a show together. I was like, you want to write shows together? We are. We've written 2, and this is Pretty Pants.
2?
Fun. Huh? Well, I said we've written 2, and then
okay.
here we are.
And we're gonna come back to that theme.
Okay.
We're going to come back and ask about that. But well, thanks for joining us, Chase, as well. So what have you guys been up to since you've been in quarantine?
Well, me, jumping around a little bit, my mother actually has like a couple houses, like a cabin, so I've been like going, trying to like not stay in one place for too long and drive myself too crazy. And she's actually been building or renovating a house. So I was like, you know what, let me help out with that so I can stay busy for lots of days.
Yeah.
And writing when I can. And that's kind of it. Trying to talk to friends and not go crazy.
Right. Jessica, how about you? What have you been up to?
Well, unfortunately, I have been staying in the same place and going a little batty.
All right.
But you know, one of the coolest things about, like, this sounds horrible to say like the coolest things about quarantine, but I never have time for anything, and I don't think I really realized that until this moment. And so I've been taking a lot of time to read and practice piano and connect with people that I don't normally have the time to connect with, and it's like really enriched a lot of long distance friendships and even short distance friendships, and that's kind of been remarkable. Again, writing when I can as well, and really just kind of focusing on wanting to come out of this period of time sort of like better than when I went into it, if that makes sense, so that it doesn't feel like a waste of time. And that's sort of been my focus. And I've been working a lot with the Atlanta Artists Relief Fund. And if you don't know about that, that is a group started by Rob Brookshire and Paul Glaze, who are two other sound designers and artists here in Atlanta. And we've been working to deliver free nutritious meals to other artists in need. And also I've been working on community and isolation relief, just sort of like creating these Zoom hangouts for people that they can drop in on, and one-on-one calls and things that just keep people connected. For you know, I feel very fortunate in that I have a family that wants to contact me all the time. I have friends that want to do game nights and things all the time, but some people don't have the luxury of that. And so this is sort of us helping other artists feel like they're still part of this community and that we're here to look out for each other. So that's sort of been my central focus of quarantine, really. So.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thanks for doing all that work as well. Suddenly I don't feel so productive in quarantine.
What have I been doing? Hanging out?
No. Well, that's the other thing. Like, it's kind of okay not to be productive. I think everybody's placed a lot of pressure on themselves to be like, I'm coming out of quarantine totally shredded and proficient in the mandolin and, you know, and speak French, you know. It's a lot to put on yourself too.
New instrument, new language. Yeah.
Right.
As long as I don't have to put regular clothes back on. So have you guys done any binge watching at all?
Oh yeah, obviously.
What have you been watching?
I watched, I did a Pirates of the Caribbean marathon, which was a mistake, and I know that now.
I'll never have that time back again.
Yeah, I know. But Peaky Blinders, which is an older show, but I'd never seen it, and everybody kept telling me that I would like it, and man, that is good. I mean, it's very violent, but it is so outstanding. So I've been binging on that a little bit.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Let's see. One of my favorite shows, The New Girl. I haven't seen in a long time, and I tried to catch up and watch some of that. And oh God, try to do some baking shows. For some reason that like keeps me entertained.
So soothing. The Great British Baking Show is like.
Right. There's one on Netflix called Sugar Rush that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Love it. Well, we're all still here and making it through, and hopefully your families are doing well and everything as well. So let's change gears and talk a little bit about an upcoming project that you are doing with us over at GET called Pretty Pants Bandit. A new musical by Jessica and Chase, and we are looking forward to it. So we'll be doing that. Well, I don't know if I can spill the beans on when we'll be doing that next season, but we'll be doing that in the coming season, and we're so looking forward to it. So tell us a little bit about Pretty Pants Bandit, if you want to tell us a little bit about the story and how it came about, and then I want to ask about the music and different things after that too.
All right, this is where we there it was. Okay. So like several years ago, I was researching female gangsters for a role, and I found this woman called Marie Baker, also known as the Pretty Pants Bandit. She was so fascinating and interesting because she marauded for about a year in Miami. She led a gang of men. What made her notorious is that she would pants the men that she robbed, like force them to drop trow at gunpoint. And I just thought, I was like, this makes no sense. I love it. I'm just going to keep that in my back pocket. And then when Chase and I had finished with the run of Vivian, our second show up at the Lyric Studio, he was like, oh, let's get started on a new project. And Chase, you said, I really want to do something that's got, you know, a female empowerment theme. It's a female driven musical. And I was like, well, I just happen to have this weird lady that I really think makes a musical. And so we talked about her, and there's not a lot about her as in terms of like historical and factual research. We did our best. She went by many different aliases, and, you know, she only marauded for a year and then disappeared into obscurity after her arrest and release. So Chase and I had the opportunity to kind of use what factual information we had and then craft a great and interesting story around it with what was going on in Miami at the time in terms of like racial issues and economic issues, as well as trying to discover what kind of woman does this and how does that make her a heroine. Like, how do people rally behind that kind of person, and what must the conditions be for them to rally behind that kind of person? So that was sort of how the story came about, and we just fell in love with her more day by day, both whoever she might have been and the woman we created. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Did it say why she had the habit of making guys drop their pants at gunpoint before they stole their money and left?
No.
No. And
No.
That's
I
awesome.
think that was the most fun part of all this.
Right.
We really enjoy storyboarding. And I also don't think there's enough of, I mean, obviously this is based on someone who was a real person, but there's not much absolutely original musical theater nowadays. It's like, have you seen this musical? It was a book. You've seen this musical? It was a movie. And so it was very fun. There's nothing like putting a cork board on the wall, grabbing some note cards and being like, why? Who's this? Oh, somebody has to do this and stick that there. No, it doesn't work. It's so much fun to do. And we hopefully made something compelling out of very little.
Yes, you absolutely have. I'm not going to spill any beans to the people watching, but you absolutely have. The people at GET, we're all beside ourselves because it's so good. But anyway, how long have you been working on it now?
Oh God.
It's
when
like
did
about
you start?
3 years, I think, a little bit less than 3 years, right? I know, it feels crazy because Chase and I went through a phase where we were just like pumping out material like daily.
Yeah.
And this has been the one that we have really put our heart and soul into and the time. So it's about 3 years, maybe. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So what size of cast is involved in this show?
Well, this is the first time. Our first couple shows are kind of small cast. What we in the biz call park and bark. So small cast, no choreography, just like sing your feelings and and with this one, we definitely wanted to be like, all right, let's go for it. We want to do a show that lends itself to an
just go in.
some music that lends itself to dancing and these grand moments and grand musical theater vessels, and so it's kind of stacked. We really went for it. We just didn't want to hold back with this one. It's got, 4 or 5 really principal characters, obviously, besides Marie herself. She's like the one, and then a couple other bit parts, and then we think a pretty sizable ensemble, depending on whoever does the show in the future or whatever, however they plan to do it.
Gotcha. So tell us, how do you start with the music for a musical? I mean, you found the story. I guess you kind of built it a little bit from there, or a lot from there. Where do you start with even the first song that you're going to do?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we did the storyboard, and then we would put like different colored Post-it notes where we thought a song should go and what it should cover. But that was sort of like the basics, and then I'll let Chase continue.
No, that's actually true. I forgot about that. You kind of we storyboard it and you kind of look at it and you go, this, because a moment has to warrant a song, and you can go through and kind of look at these scenes and be like, nah, I don't know if you'd sing about like, I have to go to the bathroom. It's got to be a compelling moments to try to launch in. And
Well,
once
everyone in
sing
the
about
theater
that.
community would sing that, but the rest of the people probably don't want to hear it.
well, we wrote the number and then we cut it. And we get it paid.
Yeah, it was crap.
Nice. So and then you kind of just go for it. And with this one, we didn't. It's obviously set in the 1930s, but to try to tackle, I don't know, we wanted the music to be another way to kind of connect all the audiences, like younger audiences. It does not sound like it's from the 1930s. We lend to it, so it doesn't seem entirely out of place. But we loved the idea of this, you know, mildly modern telling of this wild, pretty classic gal. And so you kind of just start with one. I think a couple times we've started with the opening number.
Yeah.
If you start early in the show, you get to do a lot of calling back and reprising later on, which is a great tool. You're like, wait a minute, I recognize this theme, and subconsciously think of that character earlier and stuff like that.
Right.
And then just kind of get to work. If you got an idea for a melody, I'll send it to Jessica and be like, this sounds this kind of moody, you know, and just go with it. It's so much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
How many songs total in the musical?
We're 18. I'm gonna have to look at we record everything as we go. So
Yeah.
as far as numbers go, I'm not sure, but our playlist, which is kind of mind blowing, is about an hour and 10 minutes long, which is, that's a lot of music.
We've still got one more to write.
Yeah. And some rewrites to do. Who knows if those songs will extend, or that's a lot of music. And God, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun, but you know, I've heard a lot of the music, if not most of what you've done so far, and I have to tell the folks listening, I mean, it is phenomenal. I heard Jimmy Donadio, our associate artistic director, playing it very loud on his computer months and months ago. He walked by his door, and I just stopped and went, "That's cool. What's that?" And went back and asked, "What's going on?" Because you're right, it doesn't sound like 1930s music. It sounds modern, but you know, I don't know how to describe it. It's just fantastic music. And folks, stay on the line with this, because at the end we're going to put in a video of the two of our stars here and doing one of the numbers. So you'll get a chance to hear what it sounds like, at least one of them. So how did you, or how does it work with getting a theater like GET to listen to your idea and then say, yeah, we're going to do it? I think a lot of people outside the industry are kind of fascinated by how does this happen?
This is actually like one of my favorite stories, and Chase, just pop in if you want to like add on. But like Jimmy had come to see a reading, Jimmy Donadio had come to see a reading of one of our first show that we had written, and chatted with us after and said he would love to meet with us at GET to talk about what we were working on. So Chase and I put together like a whole pitch packet for the Pretty Pants Bandit. Like we made like a mini storyboard. We had a character breakdown. We had whatever demos we had at that point, like in a little Dropbox. And we, I think, stayed up to like 4 or 4:30 in the morning, like going back and forth and planning, like, you say this, and then I'll say this. And then if he says this, you say that. And we had this whole big like plan. And we came to GET the next day, and we were ready to just sort of pitch the show. And we were so thrilled and so excited. Everything kind of felt right. And Jimmy just goes, Jimmy had listened to everything we had sent him. He had read everything we had sent him already. And we were on the assumption that, why would he? We're coming in, you know? And he was already just like on board, and he was like, we want to work with you. Tell me more. And we were just like, what, you know? And I remember, and we had a great conversation about it. And I remember getting into the elevator afterwards, and Chase goes, hey, so did that just happen? And I was like, no.
So essentially you had a moment like you had me at hello.
Yeah. I think it just comes out to being brave enough to putting your work out there, because if we hadn't done the reading of our first show, which I think both of us would still agree still needs work and zhuzhing and lots of things, you know, Jimmy would never have heard anything that we had done, and so on and so on. So, and we've been really fortunate about having a lot of advocates on our behalf in this community too. And like, so I think it's just really important to build positive relationships with people and to be brave enough to just say, hey, listen, I'm working on something, have a listen, and then be open to the feedback that comes with that. And, you know, Chase and I got very lucky, but it's not from, I mean, we've also worked our butts off, you know what I'm saying? Like to do these kind of things, to have work that's ready for people to hear, and to forge connections and partnerships and bring people on our journey with us. So.
Yeah. And you know because it doesn't apply, or it does apply to everyone's life, but especially in the artist world, how do you go about having the bravery to do something that you're creating and then put it out there?
That's a tough question. I honestly think it takes a specific type of person. For me personally, I can only speak for myself. Like, I can't not. I don't have the option of not. Like, creating to me is such a drug.
Yeah.
And hearing people sing your music or speak your words or anything, there's no other feeling like it. So I can't not. And the creation of art is just such a special thing. If you think about legacy you leave behind when you're gone and all that stuff that goes through my head when I'm like working on a project, there's like, you can't leave anything else better behind, in my opinion, than like people saying your words and singing your music. And it's just incredibly rewarding to me. I just can't not do it.
Yeah.
And I think we've both been very lucky in finding a partner that is we trust each other, and we trust each other's critique and opinions and passion and drive. And so like when you have someone who's sharing that work with you, it's safer to have that like
Right.
cohesive person that you can be like, all right, we still are in this together, even if
We're doing this.
yeah, we're just doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, and from my perspective, it helps when you have two people that are extraordinary talents and they come together and they can work together. You end up doing something like this, which is just, like I said, everybody is blown away. So one more question on Pretty Pants Bandit, and that is, where do you hope this goes in the future?
I'm looking down at Jace.
Right.
Is there a goal, or is it, you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, 100% transparency. It's everybody wants to you want to get your show to Broadway. And I think looking at, I personally believe you can see the trends happening recently, and people are starving for this sort of thing, these new musicals. And like modern musical takes that I think that we possess in our work. There's a lot of revivals happening, and I don't think that it's necessarily because they want to. I think it's because stuff like this isn't coming up as fast as you'd think it would. And to have a chance, like we've been saying for years with all of our shows, it's like, just someone gives us a chance. And that's the idea that GET and you guys have given us this chance, and we're going to do everything we can with it. Invite everyone possible to come see it and see where this show can go in the future with us and GET's name attached to it. We're all doing this together, that's the idea. So let's take it to the top,
I love it. I love it. And folks should know too that barring any more quarantine issues, that as we progress through this year, there will be workshops that people will be able to attend and hear some of the music and that kind of. So we'll keep everyone updated on that, and we're really looking forward to it. So it's fantastic. Anyway, so one last question: what have you, if anything, what have you learned from being in quarantine so far?
Oh, you want to take that one first?
All right, sure. No problem, Betty. Yeah, to be honest, I have learned that I need to take more time for myself now that I have it, and it's so beneficial. And I have learned it's kind of been a moment where you can step back and really think about what's important to you, and what you can live without and what you absolutely need. And I think for me, simplifying my mental life and simplifying my physical life has been a huge benefit, and trying to carry that over. and realizing that I have the time to connect with my friends and family as much as I need to, which I was sort of using I'm too busy as the excuse all the time. And you know, we're simply not. And knowing just like how fortifying that can be to connect with the people who are important to you, even for the slightest of moments. And even if it's virtual, as much as you would want to wrap your arms around someone, I think even the virtual communication and staying in touch and just how important that has been to me. And just a reminder of, I mean, I've been very much reminded about who I am as a person, as opposed to allowing whatever jobs or bookings I have to define me, because they don't exist right now. And so really just kind of having to rediscover, like, what is it that makes me tick and function, and what lights a fire in me, without all of those external factors. So just trying to take whatever those lessons mean and kind of carry them forward, I guess, is sort of what I have learned.
Yeah, right. Chase, how about you?
Well, I just think,
besides giving yourself a haircut.
Right, I know. I keep going at it. I think just having to sit on my butt for so long is teaching me to like get off your butt. Like everything, like it's like being in this quarantine and like not having the opportunity to seize everything that's in front of you just shows me how easy it was and how easy it is going to be after this. It's like everything's in front of you, and if you go out and get it, you know, we get used to this life that's just so easygoing, and it really kind of is lighting a fire under me personally. It's like when I get out of here and I have the opportunity to do everything, I'm gonna do everything, you know what I mean? Get together with friends, make art, and all this stuff that I could have done, but you're like, yeah, there's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I don't know, it's put a lot of perspective like that for me personally.
Sure. Well, great. Well, listen, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much. Jessica DeMaria, Chase Peacock. The musical is called Pretty Pants Bandit. Look for it very soon. Guys, thanks so much. It's been
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You're looking at the world, you're seeing all the warning signs, but the world you knew is gone. You have to carry on, your life has spun a whirl. Yet even after all this time, you've forgotten how to breathe. You've forgotten that you need much more. You've run ashore. Not every word's a lie, not every touch is so unkind. Start tearing down the walls if you want to feel it all. I know it seems at times it's difficult to realize that it's only up to you. So why not enjoy the view? Time is short, so make it beautiful. Just look around. Reach for more, but love what's waiting there when you come down. A second chance you've chased so long is in your hands, so take it all. Time is short, so make it beautiful. Just look around. You can feel the heartbeat of the town.
You're looking at the world so innocent and starry-eyed.
You don't know what I've been through, or maybe
I
you do.
That's why it's hard to see the world you think you're showing me.
There's nothing left to prove. I know where you've come from.
You see who I've become. When your eyes are closed, these perfect moments come along. Then they're gone.
So let's enjoy the night and leave the questions all behind. And you and I can find a reason to light the sky. Time is short, so make it beautiful. Just look around. more, but love was waiting there when you come down. The second chance you chase so long,
It's in my hands, so take it all. Time is short, so make it beautiful. Just look around.